If you're feeling like your workouts aren't giving you the energy boosts they used to, you might be missing this one type of training or doing it wrong. And if you do it right, it literally rebuilds your body's power plants, aka your mitochondria. In this episode, I'm diving into how high intensity training or HIIT training stimulates something called EPOC, the afterburn effect, and can completely reset your energy levels, your metabolism, and this is especially for you over 40 people. So I'll share what I discovered, what I found I was doing wrong, and funny enough, using ChatGPT. I'll break down the science behind this oxygen debt, mitochondrial growth, and how just one 15-minute session of HIIT a week can change your life. Stay tuned. So I keep talking about my SKOOL community that I'm on, and I've grown into about 100 members, and I'm really trying to help out the over 40 crowd, putting a platform out there that's better than Facebook groups. I really love this SKOOL setup. People comment, I answer questions daily. So this is just where I'm spending my time. On my calendar right here, I started doing more office hours. So I'm trying to hold these every other week, every 3 weeks, depending on the amount of people coming on. This is personal training, more in a group setting. Right now, my SKOOL cost is $20 a month, but if you pay for the year, you can get it down to like about $15 a month. And besides the access to me daily, you have video chat with office hours through Zoom every other week. This is just something I really enjoy doing. So once again, check out the show notes for the link, or if you just Google over 40 fitness hacks SKOOL, SKOOL, I will be the first thing that pops up on Google with the SKOOL emblem right there. And you can sign up that way. Check us out. Hope to see you there. All right. So today I want to talk about doing a mitochondria reset. I've been having problems lately with energy levels, which I'm assuming my whole over 40 audience always has issues with this, right? It's just part of the aging process. I'm coming off post-op surgery from a hernia surgery. I'm finally healed. I want to start cranking, get back into where I was. Every now and then you have to do a reset, see what you're doing. What are you missing? One of the biggest things that I talk about all the time is how awesome the glutathione supplement is, not only for helping out your liver, feeling more energetic, seeing more calorie burn on your fitness tracker. Before I start spending money and getting that supplement again, I want to go back to the basics to see if I can't start burning more calories. I've shown this before. This is on my Whoop device tracking my calories. I clicked the 6 months to show that at the top, I was finishing 90 days on glutathione, showing the increase in my calories. I was also doing a little bit more as far as cardio, doing a lot more rebounding than I am now. So it's been a slow progression decline over the next few months down to where I am now post-op hernia, barely hitting 2,000 calories on average. Here you see the 2420 calories. That's the average for this whole 6 months. But right now my average is about 1950, which is just absolutely pathetic. I'm doing my 3 workouts a week, 30 minutes. I'm walking every day, 7 days a week. I'm probably not rebounding as much as I used to. And I'm definitely not doing my 1 day a week HIIT training, which I know is like the biggest mitochondria booster that we can do. The faster you move your body, the more you can start building new mitochondria in that muscle that you spend all that time building. So I definitely know this is probably the problem I'm at right now, and it's time to game plan. So I started talking to ChatGPT. This is going to be another ChatGPT lesson just to show you the prompts I go through, the thought process. Not everything works for everybody, but hopefully you're into the deep science that goes into this. But before we go into how to boost mitochondria most efficiently, and in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, my 1 HIIT a session a week? Do I need to do 2, 3? How do I get out of this funk? I don't want to rely on supplements, not until I've gotten my basics covered. You hear a lot about zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cardio, just so you can see it, make sure that you understand it. Zone 1, very light, 50 to 60% of your max heart rate. You can calculate this on Google. Your fitness tracker probably has this already. Mine at my age seems to be max heart rate is like 188. So then I would take the percentages of that to try to hit that and track it on my fitness tracker. But right here, lighter zone 2, this is where the magic happens. Everyone knows using more fat for fuel for whatever you're doing, which is usually brisk walking, like fast-paced walking. Zone 3 and 4 would be more of going into the running, the hard running, different types of CrossFit workouts, or starting to get into some of the high-intensity workouts in zone 4. Zone 5 is basically full-out sprinting, burpees, just the worst you can think of, where your heart rate is hitting that max. And I know that is the most efficient for your time, as long as you're safe getting up to that level. Always check with your doctor. My whole name of the game is efficiency. So on my workouts, I do more time under tension to protect my joints. It's a slower progress of building muscle, but you can definitely get the same amount of muscle mass. I am very efficient in my workouts at the gym, getting it all done in 30 minutes. I probably do more exercises and more sets than a lot of people who spend an hour and a half, 2 hours there. And I lift just as heavy. So my problem is always being able to get this high intensity exercise in once a week. I usually do it on Saturday or Sunday. Then I got injured, getting a hernia that I think that I got from ab rolling too much. So watch out for that. I've been discovering, getting back into the grind, that doing my high intensity rebounding with my weight vest on, I have my oxygen deprivation mask on, a band around my knees, I'm running with small weights, thinking that just to make it even worse. And I cannot get past 135, 140 beats per minute for my heart rate. And I'm supposed to be hitting like 188, like I mentioned. So this is what prompted the whole thing. Am I not doing this as efficient as possible? I thought killing yourself by adding in all these other modalities to try to get that heart rate up. And sure enough, just brainstorming with ChatGPT, doing it wrong. So even the best of us who do this for a living, every now and then have to go back to Science 101 and get this fixed. So for those of you who are just listening to audio, I'll try to explain what I'm looking at ChatGPT as best I can. I am going to go through pretty quickly. So with everything I just told you, I'm prompting ChatGPT like, am I doing my high intensity the most efficient way possible? Why can't I get my heart rate up? Because I know that's what is really going to start increasing my mitochondrial count. I understand that. So what am I doing wrong? So right here, I prompted ChatGPT, let's talk about mitochondria biohacking. I feel my energies are low due to my lack of movement. I told it I do my 30-minute weight training 3 times a week. I'm not trying to go as heavy as I can, focusing on more time under tension to protect my joints. I've done great in maintaining muscle mass and even gaining more. And then I told it about my rebounder, how that was my go-to for my HIIT training and how I've been neglecting it. So I need to get back into it, but I'm having problems with getting this heart rate going. So ChatGPT prompted back, why your energy feels lower. You're 100% right on that mitochondria thrive on a metabolic stress and oxygen demand variability, which you would hopefully get from zone 5 cardio. When you lift slowly with time under tension, you're focusing on mechanical stress for hypertrophy. I get that, not metabolic stress. And it's telling me why I've dipped with caloric burn, my metabolism, because of not doing this high intensity. And then it starts telling me about my Whoop, how it factors in heavily on heart rate, HRV, and EPOC, which is what I want to talk about today, which is excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, what we call the afterburn effect. My EPOC has dropped dramatically because I stopped doing high intensity training. I'm slowly losing mitochondria and barely staying alive with my slow workouts and walking. Think of mitochondria like a hybrid engine. Slow and steady lifting keeps it idling efficiently, but you need occasionally redline accelerations to maintain horsepower. So that's what I'm lacking, the horsepower. So how to fix it fast? You need to get back to your 15-minute once a week, all out. When I mean all out, getting that zone 5 cardio. And from people I've talked to in the industry, the best way is to do it 30 seconds on, all out, whatever you're doing, sprinting on rebounder or sprinting outside, doing burpees, just anything horrible you can think of. 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, break, while all you do is focus on nasal breathing, giving your body that oxygen demand. Your body is still using glucose because of this high intensity workout you're doing, but you're doing this to simulate that EPOC, which is basically going to be a high oxygen demand or afterburn effect for after you're done. Even ChatGPT says it goes for 24 to 36 hours. So EPOC, excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. It's the afterburn effect. The amount of extra oxygen your body consumes after a workout to return to its resting state. During an intense exercise like HIIT, your body uses more oxygen than it can take, creating an oxygen debt. So that's the most important thing to think about. When you finish, your body has to refill ATP and creatine phosphates, re-oxygenate the blood and muscle tissue, which is the main portion of EPOC, clear lactate. That's what we do during high intensity workouts. And then it repairs micro damage and restore hormone balance. So by the way, the afterburn effect is also true when working out. You're tearing muscle fibers, hopefully not too bad. You're eating protein. You're getting a thermogenic effect from eating the protein. You're burning calories while you're doing the workouts. And now because you have more muscle, you're burning more calories because of that added muscle. The other one is what we're talking about today, the EPOC of building more mitochondria. Just because you built more muscle mass doesn't mean you hit your full potential for stuffing as many mitochondrial energy powerhouses into that new muscle. That's what HIIT does. So why EPOC drives the mitochondrial metabolic gain? So EPOC doesn't just burn calories, it's also a demand signal. It tells your body we need more oxidative machinery to handle future stress. This triggers PGC1, AMPK. These are master regulators of mitochondrial biogenesis, increased fat oxidation enzymes, more mitochondria per muscle fiber, which I just explained. And now you're at a higher baseline metabolic rate. So you got to do both. You got to put on more muscle and stimulate your muscle to throw more mitochondria into it. And by the way, my whole thing is I want to do it the most efficient way possible, which is why I'm constantly biohacking new theories, new supplements, new everything, because I want the bare minimum to get the most value. If I ever go on a run of caring to go all out 7 days a week, I'll be in Men's Health Fitness magazine. This is just showing you what I'm looking at is a graph. It's showing an example comparison between workout types, my slow strength training, time under tension, zone 2 walking, and then a 15-minute hit. So the EPOC duration during strength training is 30 to 60 minutes and it's over. Zone 2, you're probably getting 16 minutes worth, and then 15-minute all out like we talked about. We're talking about 8 to 24 hours. So you're burning more calories, building that mitochondria, and you're having a stronger mitochondrial signal than the other two I just mentioned. So then I asked, but doing HIIT workouts doesn't use oxygen, it uses glucose, right? How does that work into EPOC? And it goes into saying, yes, and I already touched on this. Yes, you're primarily using the anaerobic energy systems, which rely on glucose, ATP, creatine phosphate, especially if you're taking creatine. But the key thing to think about is EPOC happens after the workout, and that's where the oxygen part kicks in. You're not getting that with just walking. You're not getting the most as you do with HIIT that you do with strength training or walking. Each one has its own reason for doing so. So after doing HIIT, that's called the payback phase, EPOC. Now you've created a huge oxygen debt, and it's got to do all the things that we just talked about. Reconvert lactate into pyruvate, into glucose. We're getting a little sciencey here. Rebuilding your ATP stores, reoxygenating hemoglobin and myoglobin, repairing tissues, and then cooling down, regulating your hormones. This is all done more so than walking or strength training at the gym. This whole EPOC and what we're talking about is so metabolically powerful because your body says, we need to get better at clearing this oxygen debt next time. We need to stuff more mitochondria into your muscles so we can use oxygen faster, have better lactate clearance, higher fat oxidation capability, faster recovery. All right, then I prompt ChatGPT. So what is the most efficient way to get more of this in my routine? Go from 15 minutes to 30 minutes of HIIT, or add another day of 15 to 30 minutes of HIIT, morning or afternoon? Should I stick with my just one HIIT session a week and add in some other modality to boost mitochondria efficiently? And it says, understand the Goldilocks zone for mitochondrial training. When it comes to mitochondrial biogenesis, more is not always better. It's the same with strength training, right? If you're hitting true high intensity, zone 4, zone 5, you really got, if your doctor clears you for it, hitting zone 5 is the best, briefly. Then give yourself time to recover. But if you push the volume from 30 minutes or 2 HIIT days a week, you risk central nervous system fatigue, elevated cortisol, which is always a bitch, having high cortisol levels. So definitely don't do high intensity late at night. Having a lower HRV and eventually less output quality, not just quantity. Basically, your mitochondria responds better to potent stress rather than frequent stress. So it really wants me to just stick with the program of just doing this one time. So it says stay with the 15-minute HIIT, 30 seconds all out. I would actually benefit from going from 30 all out to 30 rest to 30 all out 90-second rest. And the longer recovery keeps you in an oxidative rebound and maximizes EPOC. I asked, what about changing it up? And it says that's even better. Doing 30-30 one time, then going to a 30-60 another time, doing 30-90 another time, and then just keep repeating. There's benefits to doing all this. You don't always have to worry about getting the most EPOC. A 30-30 split would benefit your body. Shocking the body, just like you do with your workouts, is beneficial to keep your body guessing. So it also then goes to talk about how fasted morning HIIT works better to maximize the mitochondrial fat oxidation. Your body's already primed and ready to use more fat for later. Not that you're going to be using fat during those 15 minutes, right? And if you're feeling sluggish, then an afternoon HIIT session, is okay as well. You'll have more glycogen so you can push harder. For me, I feel great in the morning. The best bang for my buck is doing this early morning. And it's funny, then it talks about other mitochondria boosters, which are cold plunging, which I do seasonally, red light therapy. I just did a whole month of that. I didn't see any real benefits, but also I'm not doing it long enough to see the benefits of boosting my mitochondria. It wasn't worth the money yet, I don't think. Taking creatine daily also helps ATP recycling, which will help this whole process. I've been doing that. Also comes with a little bit of weight gain, so I like to cycle that, and a couple other supplements it goes into. So I asked it about, what about my oxygen deprivation mask? Wouldn't that help speed this whole process up? When I take it off, I know it increases your VO2 max. Wouldn't this increase EPOC? And basically saying the mask doesn't truly stimulate altitude, but it just restricts airflow, which increases respiratory muscle workload. So my diaphragm, intercostal muscles within my lungs are getting stronger, which is a good thing. It later told me that I should still do it as a warm-up, but when I'm ready to do my actual HIIT, take the mask off because you need that oxygen. So, if I'm using the mask, it increases the ventilatory efficiency, better use of oxygen, raises CO2 tolerance, may deepen EPOC slightly, but the body has to normalize more post-sessions. And so the cons is I'm reducing my power output during my intervals, which is really going to affect my EPOC. I'm not going to be able to sprint as fast, which means less muscle recruitment, lower heart rate, yada, yada, yada. I can also increase my central nervous system fatigue by doing the mask while I'm doing this hit. It goes on to say, just use it as a warm-up while you're getting the blood flow going, jumping on my trampoline or whatever exercise you're doing. That's fine. You'll get all the benefits without hurting your high intensity and EPOC efficiency, which we're going for. So then I asked, basically, when I do my rebounding sprinting, I take my mask off now, but I got my weights, my weight vest on, and my band around my knees to really make the whole process more suffering. What ChatGPT is saying is, no, you're just recruiting more muscle group, which is slowing you down. Your heart rate is based on how fast your body can move. That is why I can't hit my zone 5 185 beats per minute because of all this stress. And all this stress is good for, like we said, intercostal muscles in my lungs. My lungs are having to work harder. They're getting compressed by my weight vest. I'm definitely recruiting more muscle fibers and burning more glucose and strengthening my muscles, but I'm not moving fast enough to get that heart rate up, which is what I'm trying to do. So basically it said, take all that stuff off. You could do it a different day for different reasons. When I go on my weighted vest hikes and do it that way, it says rebound sprints without anything, assault bikes or stationary bikes all out, sprinting outside, battle ropes or med ball slams are all full body movements that you can go fast and faster without too much risk of injury to get that heart rate up. So that was very interesting. So to test this theory out, I did body weight jumping jacks and focused on speed. Not that I was squatting that deep or anything. And then reported back to ChatGPT, holy crap, I hit zone 3, zone 4. Already proof is in the pudding that the weight vests and weights need to come off if this is what I'm trying to do, get zone 5 high intensity. And then I asked why doing something lighter and faster, you're getting systemic mitochondrial biogenesis and fat oxidation by getting that heart rate up and maximizes oxygen turnover, EPOC, where the other theory of putting as much weight and weights in my hands, you're getting a local muscular mitochondrial density and glucose clearance, heavier resistance at a slower pace, you're not running as fast. What it does for you is improves muscle insulin sensitivity and local endurance, which is great, but it's not getting that afterburn effect. So if you're going to do a 1 day a week, focus, do it right. So I think I'll stop there and just recapping, focusing on EPOC. The faster you move, the greater the stimulus of getting that post-oxygen consumption, which is what you want to stimulate more mitochondria. I just wanted to show you how I've been prompting ChatGPT, and I've been doing crazy good things for my routine, supplements, anything. You got to be careful, ChatGPT being a yes man. So just phrase your questions to where it could pick either direction, and then you could fight it. And also helps, I've been in the business for 15 years, so I know the right questions to ask. And hopefully that's why you're listening and watching me. Now that I have my game plan of fixing my 1 time a week HIIT training, I still do my 3 times weight training at the gym. I spend no more than 30 minutes, very efficient. I work fast. I go around 10 to 15 different machines, and I usually do 1 or 2 sets. I focus on effective reps. I do everything slow, which is more time under tension. Instead of completing a rep in 1 to 2 seconds, I take 5 to 10 seconds sometimes. You're just recruiting more muscle fibers. It's safer for the joints because you're not going as heavy. And yes, you can get the same amount of muscle as the standard way of training. It does take a little longer. And the rest of your time should be focused on doing stuff you love doing, whether it be walking like I do, going outdoors, swimming, biking, just all lower pace to keep you in that zone 2 cardio, because that's the fat burner. But you got to do the other 2 as well, strength training and getting that EPOC high intensity training going. So thanks for listening to my little science rant there. Maybe you watched it on 2x speed to get through it. If you have any questions, join my SKOOL community. Right now I'm doing every other week office hours. But if I get to the point where I'm doing office hours every day, I'm looking to help out as many people as I can. Check the link out for that, and I'll see you on the next one.